Hey y'all, and welcome to the video. Today's video is going to be about this truck, why I haven't deleted it yet. It's a good question to answer. First, I want to start off by saying the truck would be better if it was deleted. It would be more simple, more reliable, more fuel efficient. It would be less to worry about. So I definitely won't argue with that. And at one point when I first got it, I thought for sure I'd delete it. But here we are over a year later. It's still got its DPF, its NOxCat, it's got all that on there. So why haven't I done anything with that? I think there's 5 good reasons why I haven't done it yet. So reason number 1 is the cost. I think it costs, for tuning, that's the largest expense. And you can do some cheap deletes if you go with a race pipe instead of a full exhaust. And if you leave the EGR in place on top of the engine and just tune it out, that's the cheapest way to do a delete. And without using sims, which is not a reliable way, I wouldn't trust that. So, tuning wise, there used to be tunes on the market for $500 or $600 like H&S or the Smarty. But they're not around anymore. H&S isn't supported because they're not in business. So if anything goes wrong with that, you're on your own. And so I wanted to get maybe EFI Live or something like that. And from what I see, tuning there is in the $1,000 range, or certain other brands like Race Me. I think they're in the $1,000 to $1,100 range, which creates a bit of overhead. You're going to have to save a lot of fuel to make that worthwhile. And that kind of brings me to number 2, and that is the truck sees a relatively limited number of miles. This isn't my daily, and it's driven about 10,000, maybe 12,000 miles a year. So at that rate, it's hard to recoup your money and save fuel. Now, if this truck was being driven 50K a year, say it was my only truck and it could actually see 50K, then we would have that delete kit paid off in a couple of years. Reason number 3. The system has been reliable so far. I haven't had any problems with it. It works. The DPF cleans itself when it's supposed to. Haven't had any issues with reliability on any of my components. No EGR cooler leaks or anything like that. Now, if I was to have serious problems with this truck's emissions, that would encourage me to remove all that stuff, because it would actually be more expensive to fix the emissions than to delete it. But since everything's been working all right, I've left it alone. Reason number 4. I had an oil analysis done on this truck because I was a little bit worried about what the emissions was doing to it. And the oil analysis came back good. The oil did have a lot of soot in it, but it wasn't causing any harm to the engine. There was nothing in the oil that caused alarm in the analysis. And the oil level did rise a little bit on this truck, which made me think there was fuel in the oil, but they did not detect any fuel at all. So maybe there was some, and I think it is related to regen why this truck does that. And my research leads me to believe that. But once again, they told me there's nothing to worry about in your oil. Everything looks okay. So since the oil analysis came back good and my engine's not being harmed by this, that put my mind at ease. And then finally, reason number 5 is to be able to trade this truck in. If I want to trade it in and upgrade in the future, for them to sell it, it's going to have to be emissions compliant. So if I remove the emission stuff, I will either have to reinstall at a later date before I sell the truck and then revert it back to its stock form, or leave it the way it is and not go through any of the headache. So for now, I've decided to leave it as it is, but I do know I'm planning to keep on driving this truck for at least another year yet. I don't have any plans to upgrade yet. And about reason number 5, finishing up my list, and then I ran out of memory on my phone. But for a reason number 6, potentially, is that fuel is cheap right now. I literally just filled up today. I had the 5.9 out, filled it up for $1.49. I've never seen fuel that cheap. So the only thing that these emissions are doing to me right now that's bad is causing me to burn more fuel, and fuel happens to be pretty cheap. Now, if fuel was $3 a gallon, twice the price that it is now, then yes, it would be twice as worth it, and you'd recoup your money twice as fast if you deleted the truck. Like, here's a sample calculation. At $2.25 a gallon, say I drive 10,000 miles, and I improved from 16 to 18 miles a gallon by deleting, which is a pretty realistic expectation. It would save me 156 bucks, but if that's all I did over the course of a year, 156 bucks may take 10 years for that to pay off. But the good news is 100,000 miles isn't too many miles, and it pays for itself. So you do end up making your money back, and whenever this truck does take over the daily driving duties, it may make more financial sense for me to actually go ahead with the deletes. Or if I have a problem, I'll probably just go ahead and do the deletes, to be honest. But for now, I've left it go until I decide what my long-term plan is for this truck. So that's the answer to the question. Maybe I can do a video in the future about the emissions on these older 6.7s and even talk about the newer ones too. I know a fair amount about it and how it works, and I'm getting some real-world testing done with this truck. So that's another thing. I just wanted to find out about this stuff for myself. This looks like I think this is an artesian well over here. It's probably safe to drink. Really cool. Anyways, y'all have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.